program management principles. These principles will guide our program management activities in various program management domain. They help us in thinking in a right manner, which help us in achieving better program results. These principles are core belief. They present and influence the behavior on our day-to-day basis. They do impact our decision-making process. They are relevant irrespective of the industry we are working in. Our specific practices of program management may vary. Say I am doing program management in IT field compared to I am doing program management in construction field. I may use different practices, but my thought process is always guided by the same set of principles which are getting discussed in this particular video. So program management principle help us in setting our right mindset for the program management. And this is also important from the exam perspective. When I'm choosing my things in the exam, maybe question is coming from a governance domain, but when I'm making the choices, I need to guide my thinking based on these 8 principles. And we don't have to focus on the sequence. The sequence does not represent the priority of the principle. They are just sequenced that way. First principle, stakeholders. So as you know, stakeholders are the people who are getting affected or they perceive they are getting impacted by the program related activities. And we need to ensure as a program manager, the stakeholder expectation and the program objective and the business benefit we want to achieve in this particular program should remain in the alignment. And I need to ensure that I am proactively engaging with the stakeholders to achieve that particular alignment on a regular basis. It may start with identifying the relevant stakeholder, the right stakeholder, understanding their importance related to their role in the program, and then continuously engaging with them, setting the right expectation, helping them to understand the overall program objective, ensuring that their thought process is aligned with the business value we want to achieve in this particular program. And I work with them on a regular basis. I also don't take them granted. Their engagement level may vary. Sometimes they have a new ideas. So I need to continuously listen to them. I need to continuously reassess my engagement strategy with them because overall, I need to keep this particular alignment. There is a possibility in between we have a conflict. Some stakeholders are looking for a specific direction and others are not aligned with it. I as a program manager need to ensure that we collaborate and we resolve these kind of conflict in order to achieve program objective and align the program towards the business benefit for which it has been started because we are here to achieve organizational objectives. Benefit realization. Benefit realization principle focuses on guiding the people who are involved in the program towards ensuring that we are here to generate value, generate benefits. And this value should be aligned with organizational strategy. How these benefits get realized? When we produce some deliverables in our projects, and then these deliverables get integrated sometime at a program level, and we make this deliverable used in our operational group or by those beneficiaries, and they start producing benefits which help the organization in progressing their strategy, the realization of benefits starts happening. So me as a program manager is focusing on realization of that benefit, not just focusing on the deliverable, ensuring the all component in the program come together in an integrated manner. I also integrate with the external vendor whenever relevant to produce those desired benefits. Now it has to start with first having clear understanding about what kind of benefits, what kind of business values we want to achieve in the program. So I work with the stakeholder to have a clear understanding about it. We need to make sure the benefits which we are planning here, they are clearly aligned with organization strategy. So I ensure that there is a clear linkage between the strategy of the organization and the outcomes which we are producing in this particular program. There should be a clear justification about why are we using these material and resources in this particular program, because we are getting that particular benefit. So there should be a clear correlation between why we are investing and what we are getting out of it. My major focus is I mentor, coach my component project managers to focus on producing the desired outcome at their component level. Whenever the deliverables are ready for producing the realization of benefits, I support them during my program duration. So I realize benefits during my program life cycle, and I ensure I sustain them. And I also ensure that we provide sufficient support and infrastructure so these benefits can be sustained beyond program duration. And that is the primary differentiator between project thinking and program thinking, because program thinking is about thinking long term, creating those deliverables, making sure these deliverables are producing value, and then they are sustained for a longer duration for that particular organization. I'm also proactively assessing the environment and looking for opportunities which can advance our benefits. I'm also looking for threats which might need to be taken care in order to ensure that our benefits get realized. I provide appropriate governance to find out the areas where we need to support. Maybe we need to put extra effort, we need to put extra resources in a one area, which help us in achieving the overall benefits for the organization. So any situation comes where you have a conversation happening around deliverable or a change, something is happening here and there, my focus should always focus on what is benefit out of it and how are we helping the organization to achieve program objective, rather than I too much focus on what is the deliverable and what was the commitment for the deliverable. I focus on what was the commitment of the benefits. That is something my thinking process. Overall, I ensure that we give more importance to program level benefits rather than project levels deliverables. So I ensure that we have a good integration happening coming out of various program project level components and their deliverable in order to ensure the overall realization of the benefit can be done at a program level. Synergy. Synergy is the primary definition of program itself, because we want to bring the multiple component projects together to achieve the benefits which could not be achieved if we run them as an independent components. We run and create a synergized system which produce more benefits. So say if there are three components and each component can produce XXX benefit, return on investment, for example, and when we bring them together, we synergized it so that all three together can produce 10x benefits. That would be the synergy. Now, somebody would say, how? Because they build on strength of each other. They provide resource sharing. They provide the appropriate integration to create more creative and innovative solution. So as a program team, as a program manager, I need to ensure that we focus on synergizing all of the component activities, projects, subprograms, or some supportive activities which we are doing at a program level to achieve the maximum benefits and align the whole program towards the organizational objective. So how do I synergize? It is not necessary that each component must use a same type of project lifecycle. I see the requirement of components, and based on their characteristics, they may use adaptive, predictive, hybrid, but at the same time, they should synergize with each other. It should not happen, we are using adaptive lifecycle and we don't know how to integrate with your component because you are using predictive lifecycle. Then we are not synergizing. But there is a possibility that for a specific component area, we need to behave differently. We need to act and process our life cycle differently. We do it, but ultimately we are synergized. Now, if sometimes the things are not getting synergized, as a program manager, I champion it. I educate my project managers about the value of synergy, and I do appropriate intervention, which may require sometimes changing the scope of a component. Sometimes one component may have to do maybe a less productive activity, which might look like for that particular component. But if that activity helps us at a program level, we make that component do that particular work. So managing the changes, managing the dependency to ensure the overall synergy is maintained is my role. So it starts with synergy in the planning. Yeah, we should have clarity of our input and interface point and some kind of clarity. How do we integrate synergy in our working? Some kind of data exchange, information exchange on a regular basis, a proper integrated governance which help us in seeing the work at a program level and continuously evaluating and validating our understanding, because we can't think that once we have done a synergized planning, it will get achieved. We need to make sure we continuously evolve, we navigate, we look at the newly arising risks, we take care of opportunities available, and we take care of overall synergy all the time to produce the appropriate benefit. and this helps us in achieving the organizational objectives. Teams of teams. In general, the program is collection of multiple component teams. But when we talk about teams of teams principle, it is basically focusing on creating the teams or a network of teams which are connected vertically and horizontally, and they are aligned towards a common strategic goal, but they are empowered to do their context-sensitive decisions. This is something which is coming from disciplined agile in the PMI content. And this way of working is very popular when we work in the agile mode. You might have heard about scale agile framework. They also create bigger teams by collecting multiple smaller teams and create an interconnected structure, which is teams of teams. Let's see how it works. You create a reasonable size teams, say around 10 to 10 individuals. The agile usually focus on 10-ish individuals. And these teams are well connected. They can do various interaction coordination among themselves. This team may have a one person who is taking care of business related requirements. Each team may have a business own a focus guy. You may call him product owner or something. And then we create a structure to facilitate interaction between these business people. Maybe this person becomes a team member of a team which is handling the business requirements at a higher level or next level, or you can call it at a program level. There could be some individuals who are just working here, and this person is taking care of teams of those business analysts or product owners. Now, there is also a possibility that in each team, there is a technical expert. And these technical experts also come together and they form another teams of technical experts teams. And here there could be a dedicated technical expert also who might be working at this level. Beyond that, we may have a other level of team which might be taking care of our program level work or maybe higher level work. And we may set them here, and there is a possibility some members comes from here and there are some members who are dedicatedly working here. So this way we create a structure which is a collection of teams which are horizontally and vertically connected. Horizontally connected means they can also have a communication, inter-team communications. They might be doing some meetings which helps them in coordinating and collaborating amongst each other. And then they have a vertical collaborative units which work together, align their work from a different aspects. And this way we ensure that we are taking care of synergy and producing the results which help us in navigating to complex situations. This structure is useful when the uncertainty is high because it helps us in responding to changing market situation, changing requirements at a faster pace because all the time communication is happening on a real-time basis. Principle number 5, change. Our program is all about producing deliverables which help the organization in realizing the benefits. And when we are doing this, the things are changing in surrounding environment. But our goal is, as a program manager, as a program management team, that we deliver our benefits, we sustain them, and we transition those benefits to the organizational operational units, which can produce the desired benefit in the long term to support the organizational objective. So my goal is delivering benefits, and the situations are dynamic. So I also need to adapt dynamic approaches in my program. So with the surrounding environment changing, I also adjust my internal environment so that we can take care of realization of benefits. That's the primary purpose of thinking about change in case of program management. The rigor of change also increases because the complexity and duration of the program is long. So your program may be running for 3 years and it involves various subcomponents, which are projects, maybe subprograms, maybe some kind of support unit work. So there is expected to be a well integrated approach for taking care of the change, which ensures that we are doing things in order to realize the benefit, sustain them, and later on transition it. That is my guiding factor. And since that is my guide, I need to keep my options open so that I can change myself. Let's look into it a little bit more detail. So I can say that we have a program. it is for running for a duration, and inside it, I may have multiple component projects. Some component projects are running in parallel, some may come after some time. So there could be some serial components also. Just for simplicity, I'm putting 4 projects here. Now, this particular program is happening inside the enterprise. Yeah. So you have your enterprise influence. You can say the portfolio, your organization strategy. So you have your internal environment, which is impacting the things which you are doing at a program level. And then you are also dealing with external environment. The external environment might be bringing change, a change in the political environment, change in the economical environment, change in the regulatory structure, compliance. There could be many things, the taste of customers. Depending upon your program objective, these things might be relevant for you. Now, these external and internal environment changes will be influencing sometimes even directly your organization strategy. And when the organization strategy may get impacted, that will also impact your program. Sometimes your program may get cancelled because of these kind of change. We recently keep hearing the Apple shut down their program of generating electric cars after working for 10 years. So that kind of shift in the strategy may impact the whole program as well. So there could be a little bit modification in the strategy, realignment in the strategy. Or if not, strategy remains consistent, the environment may focus on new compliances, new priorities which need to be taken care when we are dealing with our program. Now, program is also something which is taking care of a longer duration, and it is expected to be more progressively elaborated. So things which are exactly defining my deliverables will evolve. At a program level, we are more focused on benefits. We are focusing on that these program will produce some kind of benefits which will be realized during project duration, for a particular component, during program duration, which is going beyond project duration, and then beyond a program duration as well, because these benefits are expected to be sustained. So my goal is always this. I'm just showing in a format of a dollar. The benefits could be without dollar also, like you can have a social impactful benefits as well if you are working for not-for-profit organization. But just for simplicity's sake, we are saying that these benefits are our focus. So my focus at a program level is these benefits, but things are changing, so I need to adapt myself. So say that we need to put the appropriate change practices, change approaches in place so that we can integrate and evaluate various inputs which we are getting from the external environment to ensure that our focus on realizing the benefits, sustaining the benefit during program duration, and then transitioning the benefits remain consistent. So that is my guiding factor. Now, what kind of changes will come? There is a possibility some changes might be generated out of components. The component may have need for more funds. They may have a more technical challenges, which might require adjustment to other component level also. Or we may see an opportunity coming. We might be doing our SWOT analysis frequently, and we see a new opportunity coming out of environment, which we also want to integrate inside us. So there is a possibility of some component may be seeing opportunity, or you see direct opportunity at program level, but this has to be evaluated, and we need to see what is the cost of doing it and what are the benefits which we can get out of it, and accordingly we need to manage and take the changes forward. So that is something is a role of program management group. Yeah, that's in a simplest manner. And that's the principle that I need to adapt to the change in order to produce the better results. There is a possibility some components which are too much dynamic, we may use adaptive approaches there, and they should be integrating well with other components. But yeah, this particular component is more changing, but overall we should be ensuring that we are realizing our benefits. So me as a program manager always thinking of adapting to the component level approaches depending upon the variability we see at that component, and ensuring the variability which we are getting at a whole program level is also taken care throughout the program execution. There could be other aspects also. There could be change which required to be done with the operational group so that they can really realize and sustain the benefits. So say you need to train them, you need to select a help desk. So that could be another change management work. So change is not always about changing your deliverable, changing your estimate, getting more money. That is one aspect of it. Change is also about creating the right environment so benefit can be sustained and later on transition. So as a principle, I also focus on enabling those changes which help us in realizing and sustaining our benefits. So this principle also covers the change management part of it. We may have a separate office doing change management, but as a program, there's a good integration of change management also happening. So don't limit this principle only to a change control. Change control is usually associated with changing and managing the deliverables, and the change management usually get associated with the enabling the users to adapt to the change. We want to integrate both of them. So we are saying at a program level, we need to think about both, and we need to make sure both of them are taken care in synergy so that we produce the impact which is needed at a benefit level. Benefit is my guiding factor. So I need to ensure that at a component levels, I'm mentoring my teams so they also brings the new idea. They don't just focus on what has been told to them as a scope. They may propose a change. We have a proper facilitated meetings which ensures the integrated impact analysis, and then we take care of the changes for the organizational benefit. So at a principal level, we can say the change is something which we need to enable in order to produce the program level benefits, sustain them, and ultimately transition them. Leadership. I'm sure you must be hearing about leadership whenever you go for any leadership or management related programs or any framework which talks about facilitating work amongst the many individuals and stakeholder talks about leadership. Many a time we also start comparing management versus leadership. So there is a notion leadership is all about influencing, inspiring, motivating, whereas the management is all about compliance, following the path. We need leadership as well as management behavior. Leadership skills help us in setting the right goal, right vision, and management skills help us in putting the process in place which help us in achieving those right goal in the right manner. In a program management perspective, we apply act of leadership at various levels, and I am as a program manager is definitely expected to champion the leadership behavior in my program. Now, when we talk about program, it's a complex structure. It's a complex system because you have stakeholders who are having various types of interest, governance, compliance, user base, vendors, and you have project teams who are led by their project managers. Some of the teams might be using adaptive, some of the teams might be using predictive, and you as a program manager is expected to influence all this community to unite them and lead them in a manner so we produce the outcome and the benefits for which this program has been initiated. And that is the expectation from me when I talk about the leadership. Now, looking at this further, and we can talk about what is needed as a foundation. The foundation of stakeholder engagement as well as team engagement is that we understand each other's language. We have a confidence in each other's capabilities. If I can create an environment of trust and empathy by applying emotional intelligence, by conducting various networking sessions, then we can create a foundation for collaboration, conflict resolution, negotiation. So as a program manager, I should be working on various acts which creates trust and empathy. And I should be always aware not to get into the acts which impacts trust and empathy. For example, don't hide information. Always focus on transparency, because I know if the transparency get violated, the trust will get violated at some point in time as well. So I focus on building the foundation for working. Now, overall, I can say when people know each other, when they have a comfort, there will be easy to negotiate. There will be an easier process for resolving conflict. Now, as a leader, I teach everyone to be open with each other. I teach everyone or promote people can negotiate with each other. They don't need me. But at the same time, if they get stuck somewhere, I have a interpersonal skills which can help people in negotiating and listening to each other. So I ensure in this, I demonstrate an act of leadership with the help of my interpersonal skills, where I can make stakeholder team listen to each other and we resolve or manage conflicts in the healthy manner. Each conflicts help us in finding out how do we operate in a better manner, how do we communicate in a better manner. So that's another act of leadership I will demonstrate when I'm working in my program. Now, collaboration and coordination. You can say that when we are working in a program environment, there are multiple project teams. We need to make sure that these project teams are having their horizontal communication as well. It should not be that everything is happening in a vertical communication only. So we need to ensure that the principal team of teams was explicitly talking about it. We need to make sure that we have a horizontal and vertical communication, collaboration, and coordination, because we need to create an environment where people can network directly with the stakeholders. The stakeholders should be feeling comfortable talking to the component team. The component teams should be feeling comfortable with talking to each other. And at the same time, we ensure our program level objectives get met. We collaborate for a system goal. We don't only focus on my component deliverable or my component release. I need to create an environment as a program manager so that we create an environment where collaboration, coordination to achieve program goal is the primary focus rather than focusing on their individual component. That's another act of leadership I will demonstrate in this particular principle. Overall, balancing autonomy and governance. So it's like this. At a team's level, I need to have a good amount of freedom. I don't want to have a situation where each project manager has to come to me and take very frequent approvals, because it will delay the whole process. We need to make sure that we do a decentralization of decision making. At the similar level, I will also work with my senior stakeholder to have a working agreement. So they give me a confidence, or they give me a freedom to act rather than I have to go to them again and again. So we need to have a sufficient amount of autonomy in the system. At the same time, there has to be limitations and constraints applied. So we know what all decisions I must consult with my seniors. My project manager also know what all decisions must consult it with the program manager. When the things has to be escalated, what kind of information has to be shared. So I, as a program manager, at all level, horizontal level as well as vertical level, I ensure that we have as much as decentralization, as much as autonomy, which can be provided given the program objective and context. I focus on doing that because I understand the local decision making makes it fast. It empowers people. It brings more autonomy. It brings more accountability because they are making the decision and they want to implement it. But at the same time, I also need to take the overall program objective and governance in mind, and I need to balance this autonomy and governance as a part of act of leadership. Now, the final one, coaching, mentoring, and situational leadership. Now, many a time when we learn agile and other stuff, we learn something called servant leadership. So servant leadership is needed nowadays at across the organization. So as a program manager, I am definitely focusing on serving my people. I need to demonstrate empathetical approach. I want to develop my team members. I want to develop my project managers. And my goal is how can I assist them in achieving their objectives? So how do I do that? I provide frequent mentoring. I help them in learning various program management concepts. I teach them project management as well. I teach them, mentor them how to handle conflicts. I improve their communication skills. I need to provide coaching to my stakeholders as well. I make them learn how to interact with the project team. The overall goal is we want to create a community which can talk, which can collaborate, and which can produce result. And in order to communicate that, create that community as a leader, I must mentor, coach my community. So that's something I do. At the same time, I also focus on situational leadership. So we can't blindly say that everywhere applies servant leadership. As a program manager, we are clear that we might be working with some vendors where we need to follow as per the contract. And it has to be, in some cases, it could be a very stringent contract which has to be followed all the time. So depending upon the situation, I should be flexible in my leadership approach. But in general, my default stance for leadership is facilitative, collaborative, which is more aligned with serving others rather than asking and demanding things from others. Why? Because I know when I demand, when I direct, I am reducing the engagement and the power of the person who is executing it. And when the engagement is reducing, the person will not be producing at their optimum level. And they might be blaming me if something goes wrong. So I want to have a balancing act. I want to bring as much decentralization as possible with the help of proper training and coaching and mentoring. Decentralization doesn't mean that it's his work or her work and they will do it and I don't have to look into it. Delegation also requires that you create the capability so the person can execute the work in the effective manner. I believe These ideas are pretty general. Any leader should be implementing it, and they are relevant for program management as well. Risk. So taking care of risk is a part of our project management, program management job. And I believe all of us know it in practice because we have been taking care of risk all the time. Now, this principle reminds us that at a program level, we need to make sure the risks are taken care. If not, they can impact our benefit realization. So we need to make sure we are taking care of all those uncertain events which might create a challenge for us in achieving the program objective. And we also try to take exploiting those opportunity which can speed up our process of achieving program objective. So risks, as we all know, are uncertainties. They are uncertain event, and we are worried about them because they have an impact. As you understand from PMI concepts, the risk in a PMI term could be positive and negative, which is coming from your project management background as well. This is little different than usual notion of the risk, which is usually considered negative. But in our project management world, we believe opportunities and threats both are uncertain event, and we need to take care of them. So as a program manager, I need to take care of program level uncertain events, which could be opportunities or threats. Opportunity, I must need to make them reality so that we achieve our program benefits, program objective faster in effective manner. And the threats, we definitely need to work on them so they don't block us from achieving our program benefits and objectives. So we understand the program is a collection of components which are having projects, and risk management may become a little complicated issue here because I need to make sure that different components are also integrating well with each other. I need to make sure that dependencies are managed well, and we are taking care of uncertainty related to individual component level delivery, related to interdependencies, as well as related to the overall program impact. So risk at all levels need to be taken care, and I need to make sure that I educate my project managers. I create a right environment so the risks are taken care and we can achieve our project or program benefits, project and program benefits, overall program benefits. Now, what should I do as a steps? First thing, I need to must align my risk management approach with organizational risk attitude and appetite. So each organization may have some guidance, and I need to understand how much risk the stakeholders can tolerate. When they do want to talk about risk, I need to understand the philosophy of the organization and make sure their aptitude related to risk, their attitude towards the risk is somewhere getting reflected in our risk management practices, which we are doing at a program level and at component level, sub-component level. Everywhere we are consistent with our overall organizational risk attitude. Yeah. Then our major goal at a program level is benefits, and ensuring these benefits remains aligned with the organization's strategic objective. Now, when I am working with the component teams at a project level, I also need to make sure the component teams, project teams creates right attitude to ensure they do take care of the risk which can impact the benefits at a component and later on at a program level. Many times there could be a possibility where component team may not give attention to benefit that much. There I need to work as a champion to remind them focusing on business viability risk, business realization risk, and I may collaborate at various stages in my program life cycle, which is starting till end, at various points where we will have an interaction with the governance group. We will talk about looking at the environmental situation because changes are happening all the time. How do we see ourselves achieving the program benefits? We need to keep looking at the risk which are coming for a viability of the program itself. At the same time, not all risk can be taken care by me. There should be a mechanism where some risk which are not handled at a component level, project level, comes at a program level. At the same time, benefit realization is a system issue. Program alone cannot realize the benefit. There could be some of the intervention which are needed at operations level. There could be some interventions needed at a portfolio level, which means another projects or a program that might be needed. So there is a possibility where some risk which are coming to a benefit realization, I may need to escalate to my organizational group. Maybe I have an enterprise program management office or some other group who is expected to take care of such kind of escalation. So overall, we have a consistent risk management practices We identify and respond to the risks at a program and components level. Our goal of doing all this risk management is achieving benefits and alignment, and we remain aligned with organization policies related to risk, and we make sure when needed, we also take assistance from the enterprise level groups to assist us in mitigating and taking care of some of the risks. Programs are big initiatives. They involve a lot of energy, money for the organization. An organization wants to do their best to ensure the program remains aligned to the intent for which they have been initiated. They're really moving forward to achieve the desired benefits. And at this scale, organization may also wants to make sure the programs are not taking shortcut, because ultimately program is a temporary endeavor. They need to make sure that we are not breaching some of the compliance which we are expected to follow at a program and at a lower level in the components. And in order to achieve all this, organization reminds us about governance. So I, as a program management, ensure that we balance our autonomy with governance all the time, because we need to ensure that things are transparent. The objective of governance is not always about monitoring. It is definitely ensuring the programs are managed appropriately, but it is also about providing the framework, support, and desired intervention when needed so that we can achieve our program benefits. Everybody is here to make sure the organization resources are not getting misused, and we all are putting our best judgment to achieve program objective. So some of the fundamental area of concern for governance is we want to make sure there is a transparency in the system. So you at a program level also make sure that we have a program governance in place and things are transparent. Things which are getting done at a component levels are visible at other component level as well as at a program level as well. And things which are expected to be shared at a governance group are getting shared as per your agreement on governance framework as far as your communication plan. So overall transparency by using appropriate tools and technique, by using digital tools where data of your program is consolidated at one place, managing dependency in the more transparent manner, having frequent update. Now, if you are following, part of your program is following adaptive lifecycle, you can have a daily stand-up based updates, or you can have an iteration review based update. If you are following the predictive life cycle, the transparency can be achieved with the help of dashboards and reports. But whatever is the mean, that is depending upon the context. But overall, we should have a clarity about where we are all the time. So transparency is the foundation of governance, because if the transparency is not there, governance is using some of the information which may not be true. So governance also ensure that we do an oversight. We keep eye on some of the trends, variances which might be happening, and they may want to do some intervention in order to correct our future path. Organizations will have some compliance needs. The program can have a specific compliance need. Many a time, the governance group also focuses on ensuring compliances in the overall program execution. I, as a program manager, ensure that we put appropriate governance structure in place which ensures that we are following compliances, and we also work with the governing body at an organization level to make sure that we are following the compliances in a right manner. Many a time we end up working with multiple governance body. So for generic consideration, we can say we have a one governance body, but there could be a situation where you may have say client governance body, internal governance body, government governance body. Depending upon the complexity of your program, you may have multiple governance body who may be interested in different aspects of your program. So I make sure that I follow the appropriate governance frameworks and processes which can satisfy or which can provide the transparent information and provide the information for oversight they need to multiple governance bodies as well. And overall, this is not fixed. We should be adapting, we should be having resiliency, we should be having bounce back attitude. If something goes wrong, our governance group can provide support as well. They can provide extra funds, they can provide extra resources, machines in order to achieve the program benefits. So overall, governance help us in clarifying accountability, authority, and responsibility in all areas of our work. So we do want to have as much as accountability, authority, decentralized, but at the same time, there has to be clarity. And that clarity should be clear at a program level, and that is one of the aspects of governance. The decision-making structure. Similarly, it is connected to accountability authority as well. What kind of decisions are made where, and when do you need to trigger the escalation? That's another governance area. The change, as we learn in our change principles, change are happening very frequently in the environment, and we need to respond to the change. Yeah, the governance also has an intervention to have a visibility about what is our process of reviewing, approving, and evaluating the change. Yeah, so that's also need to be governed. Most of the time, governance will have a focus in that particular area as well. The governance will be throughout the program life cycle. We can't think that governance is only limited to execution time or planning time or something. So I'm not using yet the words which are associated with program life cycle, but in a simple word, we can say from a beginning till end, whatever stages the program goes through, all the time, all the points, we need to have a governance, because we want to make sure, is this program is really progressing as we expected in order to achieve benefit realization. We probably want to evaluate the business viability, financial viability of this program at various stages. There could be a trigger which make us kill this program, or maybe a stakeholder kill this program. So that information has to be presented to them, because if it is not going for a desired direction, it might require either change direction or maybe abandon this particular whole initiative. This all can only happen when we share our information, when we put the right governance structure in place. And that's why this principle reminds us, we do have a domain called governance as well. So in our PgMP class, the governance is the big focus area, same like benefit realization, same like risk. Yeah, but we are starting with the principle, and then we'll get for more in detail when we talk about governance domain. So we studied about all these 8 program management principles. Though the PMI content is not explicitly telling the relationship between these 8 principles, but it is very obvious, which is clearly coming out of the content as well as understanding, that all these principles are working pretty interconnected. We need to see the synergy of all of them. Our behavior as a program manager is always influenced by all the 8 principles. It is always focusing on stakeholders and working with the stakeholder so that we understand what kind of benefits they want, so that we can ensure the synergy, so that we can ensure the change is taken care. Sometime in order to create a dynamic changing environment, we work with team of teams. We need to apply act of leadership with teams as well as with stakeholders. We need to make sure the risks are taken care, which can come on the benefit realization. The governance provide appropriate frameworks to take care of benefit realization, the changes, applying appropriate leadership style, taking care of risk, and ensuring how do we work as a team of teams. So when we think about these 8 principles, we better think them in a cohesive manner. And when we are dealing with our rest of the program management content, we keep as these 8 principles as a guidance for our behavior. And the same thing will be applicable when I'm answering my question in the PgMP exam. If you need more assistance related to your PgMP exam, you can check more videos on YouTube. We do have a detailed video explaining how to fill the PgMP application. And I also run a mentoring program where we provide you a self-learning content, guidance for your application, and provide appropriate amount of mock question test so that you can pass the exam without much of trouble. We do have a live classroom-based mentoring program or facilitation program as well for your PgMP preparation. So check our website or connect with us. We will help you in getting PgMP certified in the shortest possible time.